Alrighty then, let's do this, YouTube. The 11th game is the 106th meeting of Bedlam. OSU at OU Bedlam. In the previous meeting last year in Stillwater, the Oklahoma State Cowboys beat the University of Oklahoma, and in doing so, won the Big 12 regular season title with a score of 44-10. The game again in Stillwater. The record for the Cowboys last year was 12-1, 8-1 in the Big 12, and of course regular season champions. As regular season champions, as most of you may realize, they did, yes, end up going to a bowl game last year, where Oklahoma State at 11-1 at this time held off Stanford to go to 12-1 with a 41-38 win in the Fiesta Bowl over the Pac-10 champion Stanford Cardinal. The head coach of the Cowboys of OSU is Mike Gundy. Gundy is 59-30 as a head coach, meaning that if they go 1-0 and start the season off with a 1-0 record, he'll be 60-30, 2 games over, or 30 games over 500. Of course, like I said, his only job is at OSU. Last year, the Pokes averaged 48.7 points per ball game last year, and their quarterback who's Brandon Wheaton, who's now with the Cleveland Browns. They're going to miss him. Their graduated player, as I said, is Brandon Wheaton. He passed for almost 5,000 yards last year, actually 4,727 to 4,700 yards to be in fact, 68 total touchdowns. As far as players returning to or coming on to campus, their quarterback, to replace Brandon Wheaton, they'll go from one of the oldest starting quarterbacks to possibly one of the youngest starting quarterbacks. Wes Lunt passed for 3,450 yards and 27 touchdowns for his high school team in Rochester High School in Chicago, Illinois. And he is suspected to be the true freshman starting quarterback for the Pokes. At running back, to help take a little bit of pressure off of Lunt, will be Joseph Randall. Randall had 408 carries last year for 1,248 yards and 24 touchdowns. Well, if Lunt's going to have another good year, he's got to have someone to throw to, right? That's going to be Tracy Moore. Moore last year had 45 catches for 672 yards and 4 touchdowns. That's returning on offense. On defense, Datewan Lowe is coming back. He had 97 tackles last year, an interception, and 3 forced fumbles. Their punter-kicker, they usually use the same guy. Dan Bailey did it a couple of years ago. After Bailey did it, their guy from last year took over. Now it's going to be Bobby Stonebreaker. For Tuttle High School, this guy went 7 for 20, 53 is long, only missed those 3 field goals. And Stony Brook did not punt very much in high school, and I really don't think that he's going to have to punt that much at OSU because of the way that the offense goes. This is going to be a game that is going to be very interesting. It's going to be the final one that a lot of people are going to be looking at. This is the final one of the what you would call air raid offenses. It started with West Virginia. It started actually with Baylor, with their head coach Art Briles being at Texas Tech before being at Baylor. Next, it started with the the person that's now coaching at West Virginia, Daniel Holgorsen, who was at Texas Tech, took over for Art Briles, came here to OSU. OSU had him for a couple of years, and then West Virginia signed him, and it's gonna be another one and done, we hope. One reason why I really think that they're not going to have to use Stonebreaker as a punter very much is just because of the way that this offense goes. This offense has had some numbers to go through. Larry Fedora, who's at OSU, who's at Mississippi, Ole Miss right now, or Mississippi State, I believe it is. He is a former OSU assistant coach. He did a lot while he was at Southern Miss. He's done a whole lot while he's been there at Southern Miss. A lot of wins. Holgorsen comes in. He gets a whole lot of wins. Now they got a new offensive coordinator this year who is a lot more heart-spoken. He's got a lot of heart. He's got a big mouth, to be completely honest with you. Their offensive coordinator right now, he's got a big mouth. I think he said it last year in that, Oklahoma kind of pushes him around and all, and maybe that they shouldn't let Landry run the offense because Blake Bell does it so much better running the plays. Bell being our backup quarterback, and yada, 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 yada. And really a lot of smack talk from the OSU offensive coordinator. This is the final home game for the Sooners. They'll be at TCU next week, the next week for Game 12. So it's going to be quite interesting to find out how the seniors leave. Landry's final game is probably going to, it'll be Landry's final game. It'll be his final game at OU. It's going to be obviously emotional for him. It's going to be emotional for a lot of our defensive players, our offensive line. But they have to put the emotion behind them. And these guys just have to go out prepared, ready to go. And because OSU is going to be. This is a team that has grown a lot. They only lost the one game last year, and that was their emotional game. They lost at Iowa State 2 games after 2 games. I'm sorry, a day and a half really. Really half a day because it was a Friday night tilt. Basically, just hours after finding out that their OSU women's basketball coach, Kirk Butke, a great coach at a former Louisiana Tech University coach, opened a lot of eyes, opened a lot of ears, opened a lot of doors for the women's basketball program. That situation, and basically he died on a recruiting trip from Arkansas, and the OSU football team finds out about this, and now they have to go in and play with their emotions held high, and they lose by a touchdown to Iowa State in Ames. I feel badly for that. If that game didn't happen, if they could have held off that game, pushed back that game a week, let the OSU family kind of think about what happens and move that game back to Saturday, I honestly think that OSU wins that game and possibly plays then in the national championship. But as it is, like I said, they're 12-1, 8-1 in the conference. They won the Big 12. They won the Fiesta Bowl over Pac-10 champion Stanford. They had a good year. This is going to be the revenge game at home. Sooner fans are going to be mad. Sooner fans are going to be jacked up, ready to go. It's going to be cold because it is a later November, December-ish game. But, we're going to have to find out how things go. I really think Oklahoma wins this game. So until next time when we break down Game 12 with the TCU Horned Frogs, this is Harry James Taylor signing off. Thank you very much, and Boomer Sooner!